Hello and welcome to Edisathi. We discussed a lecture on quantitative comparison. Now we'll be moving forward and we'll discuss some tricky questions that you can get on this topic. I would like to say that the questions that you get on quantitative comparison are not difficult, but they are tricky. So you just have to read the question very carefully before attempting it. So before getting started, I will again take you through the description of the quantitative comparison that we have already done. What we are doing here is we are comparing two quantities A and B using some additional information that is given to us in the question, and we have to select one of the four answer option basis upon which quantity is greater. So I'll select option A if quantity A is greater, option B if quantity B is greater. I would use option C if both the quantities that are given to me are equal, and I will mark option D if I am not able to determine the relationship between the two quantities from the information which has been given to me. So let's move forward and let's look at some of the tricky questions that you can get based upon this topic. Let's look at question number 1. The question says A is equal to 2B equals to 4C, where A, B, C are integers. And I have to compare between quantity A and quantity B. Quantity A is A plus B, quantity B is A plus C. Now you can pause the video here and try to determine the option. Once you have tried solving this question, the main problem that people face is they assume the values of C, let me take it as 1. So B would come out to be 2 and A would come out to be 4. Now if I look at this, A plus B would give me an answer of 6 and A plus C would give me an answer of 5. So what is happening is quantity A is greater than quantity B. But a very important thing that I have to take care is I have only taken positive integers. I have not taken negative integers. This is the main problem which people face. So I will have to assume the values both positive and negative as well. So if I'll take the value of C as -1, I get the value of B as -2 and I get the value of A as -4. So if I now solve for A plus B, it will be -6 and A plus this will be -5. Now I know that in this case -5 is greater than -6. Since I am getting two contradictory things, that means they cannot be a short relationship that can be determined from the information given, thereby giving me option number B as my correct answer. Let's look at another question. The question says, if mod of -x is greater than equal to 6 and x into y square is negative, where y is an integer, I have to compare the two quantities. Now I would request you, if you have already gone through lecture number 1, pause the video here, try solving the question yourself, then you can again unpause the video and look at the answer. So if you want to look at the answer, now whenever I'm removing this modulus sign, I will use a plus minus thing. So once I'll remove it with a negative sign and once I'll remove it with a positive sign. So this is the two things. So what you have, -x is greater than equal to -6, and in case of inequality, in case I cancel the negative sign, I'll have to change the sign of inequality. So here it becomes x is greater than or equal to -6. So these are the two options that I get. X is less than equal to 6 and x is greater than equal to -6. And what is given to you is x into y square is negative. Now y is an integer. Now if you look at it, square of any number cannot be negative. So that means it has to be positive. That means if the product of x into y square is negative, x, the quantity x, will be taken as negative. So x will be taken as negative that I have. So if I just look at these two things with respect to this thing, now what is it saying is, if I just look at it, x is less than equal to 6 and what it is saying, x is greater than equal to -6. Now if I look at it, x is turning out to be negative. And if I look at the values of x that are possible to me in this question. So the values of x that are possible here are minus 6, what, minus 5? Can I take the value of x as minus 4? That is the question that I have now. Now, if I just look at it, I have to take the value of x equal to. Now what I'm saying here is x is greater than or equal to 6. Greater than or equal to. So the value of x that can suffice would be what? Minus 6. Now if I compare minus 6 with minus 4, I will look at it and I will say quantity B is greater in this case. Okay. Let's look at another question. The question says mod of x is less than 1 and y is positive. So mod of x is less than 1. So I'll once open it with a negative sign and I'll once open it with a positive sign. So if I just look at it, if it is this case, so x has to be less than positive 1 and x has to be greater than. So if I just negative 1. So this is the range for x that I get. This is not equal to that I have. So x can either be less than 1 and it has to be greater than 1. It is not given to me that x is an integer here. Okay. And y is positive. So y that I have is anyways positive with me. Now, if I look at the two quantities, quantity A, which is mod of x plus y, and quantity B, which is x into y, I have to determine the relationship between these two quantities. Now, whenever you have a thing like that, what you can do is you can assume different values of x and y and solve with the question. So for the time being, I can assume the value of y as 4 and x as 0. This is the simplest case. Now, if I look at it, 0 plus 4 is 4. 0 into 4 is 0. So from the first case that I have taken, I know that quantity A is greater than quantity B. Let's look at another case. I cannot generalize the thing from a single case. I'll take the value of x as 0.5. So what you have is 0.5 plus 4 is 4.5 and 0.5 into 4 is 2. Again, I would look at and I would say quantity A is greater than quantity B. Now I'll try to take x as negative. It is very important for me to take all the possible cases because a relationship has to be true in all the cases that are possible with a given situation. So if I do mod of x, it will be always positive. Now the thing that you need to look at is mod of x will always be positive and I'm adding a positive number into a positive number. So it will obviously be a larger number. And x could be negative, could be positive. So in case I'm taking x as negative, this total value will turn out to be negative, which in turn will anyways be smaller than quantity A. So with all the possible options that I have, I can see that quantity A is greater than quantity B. Let's look at the fourth question. So what you have is P plus mod of K is greater than mod P plus K. So you have to compare the two quantities P and P and K which are given to you and find out which of the following would be greater. Now what you can do here is you can open this thing with a positive and a negative sign. So what you can take is you can take the value of P as whatever you like, 3 or minus 3. Okay. So I'll make all the four possible cases that you have. So I'll use the value of P as 3 and I will use the value of K as 2. So I'll make all the possible cases that are there. So if I just look at it, P plus I will use a mod K. So that means this has to be positive. Now P can be negative, can be positive, and K again can be negative and positive. So I'll make two cases when P is positive and K is positive. When P is positive but K is negative. When P is negative and K is positive, and when P is negative and K is also negative. So I'll try to ascertain the equation and I'll try to see in which case it is holding true. So P plus mod K, so which is 3 plus 2, which is 5. And if I look on the right hand side, it is again 3 plus 2, 5. Is 5 greater than 5? No. That means this case is not valid. Again, if I look at 3 and minus 2, 3 plus 2, which is on the left hand side, which will be 5. And what you have on the right hand side is 3 minus 2, which will be 1. Is 5 greater than 1? Yes. So that means this is one situation that is giving me the correct answer, which is satisfying this inequality. Still, for the time being, let me look at the other options as well. Minus 3 plus 2. So this will be minus 1. Again, this will be 3 plus 2, 5. Is 1 greater than 5? Sorry, minus 1 greater than 5? No. P is equal to minus 3. So if I just look at the left hand side, this will be minus 3 plus 2, which will be minus 1. On the right hand side, it will be 3 minus 2, which will be 1. Is minus 1 greater than 1? No. So the only case that is giving me this inequality sign is when P is greater than K, giving me option number A as my correct answer. Let's move ahead. Let's look at question number 5. Now what you can do is, again, I would say pause the question here and try to get your answer. Now the question is saying Greta's salary is X $1,000 per year and she received Y raise. Annika's salary is Y $1,000 per year and she receives X% raise. X and Y are all positive integers. Now the two quantities that are there is the dollar amount of Greta's raise and the dollar amount of Annika's raise. You have to compare this. Now if you talk about raise, it will be Y% of X for Greta. And if you talk about Annika, it will be X% of Y, that will be for Annika, which will be the dollar increase. So if you just solve this out, this will be XY over 100. And if you look at this, this is again will be XY over 100. So the dollar amount for Greta's raise is equal to the dollar amount for Annika's raise, giving me option number C as my answer. Let's move ahead. An item's price is discounted by 16%. Subsequently, the discounted price is increased by 16%. Now, what is greater, the original price or the price after the discount? I don't think you need to spend too much time on this if you have done your topic of percentages carefully. It is a kind of successive percentage change. I'm first decreasing the price and then I'm increasing the price. So if you remember your AB formula, it's very simple thing. So it will be A plus B plus AB by 100. So I don't need to put in the values. It will be minus 16 and increased plus 16, minus into pluses, minus 16 into 16 by 100. So whatever is the overall thing will be lesser than the original price. So I don't need to solve it out. So what will be greater? What will be greater? So the answer would be my original price is always greater than the discounted price. However, if you still want to solve it, what you can do is you can assume the price to be 100 initially, then give a discount of 16%. 16% on 100 would mean a discount of 16 rupees, leaving you with a price of 84. Now for 84, if you increase with 16%, so what you can do is you can multiply 84 with 1.16, which is a 16% multiplying factor. What you have is 97.44, which is obviously less than the original price of 100. Moving ahead, 10 factorial is divisible by 3 raised to power x and 5 raised to power y, where x and y are positive integers. The greatest possible value of x and twice the greatest possible value of y is what I have to compare. I would request you to pause the video here, look at the concept of number system if you haven't gone through those concepts, and try solving this question. Now I'm giving you 30 seconds or 40 seconds to solve this question. Once you solve this question, do unfreeze the video, and the answer that you will get would be option number C. So if you're having a problem in solving this question, let's look at it. Now when you are dividing it with 3, just divide 10 with 3, what you get? 3. Again divide 3 with 3, what you get is 1. So 3 plus 1, 4. So the value of x that you get is 4. Now when you're dividing it with 5, 10 divided by 5 is 2. 2 cannot be further divided by 5. So the value of y is coming out to be 2. So x is 4 and y is 2. The greatest possible value of x is what? Twice the greatest possible value. 2 into 2 is 4. Both the quantities are equal to 4, and therefore my answer is option number C. Moving ahead. Now if you have a calculator, this question is very easy for you. Even if you don't have a calculator, it's very easy to approximate this question and get to your answer. Now, root 3 everyone knows is 1.732. Root 6, even if you don't know exactly, you know it is approximately close to around 2.45, whatever. So if you take a value of 2.4 and add 1.732 to it, you will get a value of around 4.1 or 4, approximately a value which is equal to 4. And if you find out the root of 9, it is coming out to be 3. This was a very simple question to solve. My answer would be option number A. Quantity A is greater. Now, let's look at question number 9. ABCD is even and positive, and ABC is odd and positive. Pause the video, try solving the question. ABCD is even and positive, and ABC is odd and positive. So now if you look at it, ABCD is odd and positive, whereas ABCD is even and positive. So what I'll get is this D thing here has to be even and has to be positive. It is for sure that D has to be even and D has to be positive. Now positive means it has to be greater than 0, and the even number which is greater than 0, it starts with 2. So if I compare quantity 1 with quantity D, I know that quantity, this quantity that I have, D, is a greater quantity that I have. Quantity B is greater that I can have. Moving ahead, x squared is greater than y squared. So if x squared is greater than y squared, I can say that x is greater than y, right? Or I can say minus x is less than minus y, because it could be the case that x is equal to 6 and y is equal to 5. So x square is greater than 5 square. It can be the case that x is equal to minus 6 and y is equal to minus 5. So this has to be lesser than this and this has to be greater than this. And what is given to you? X is greater than negative mod of y. So x has to be greater than mod of y. That means even if I turn it out to be this and this. So if I just look at it, I'll try to make all the possible cases and get to my answer. Now I'll take x as minus 6 and y as minus 5, and I'll take x as 6 and y as 5. Now if I look at this thing, x has to be greater than mod of y negative. Mod of y means 5. If I take 5x, this minus 6 has to be greater than minus 5, which is not satisfying in this case. So the only case that satisfies is this case. So that means x is also positive and y is also positive. That means out of the two quantities that you have, quantity x will always be greater than quantity y. Moving ahead, let's look at question number 11. In a certain class, there is a 2:3 ratio of boys to girls. The ratio of students from the north side of the town to the students from the south side of the town is 4:3, and no student is from anywhere else. The smallest possible number of students in the class is what I have to find. Now look at it. The total number of students in the class can be divided into ratio 2:3. So that means this will be 2x, this will be 3x. If I just add them up, the total number of students have to be a multiple of 5, because I cannot have the number of students in fractions. So it has to be a multiple of 5 so that it is easily divisible in 2:3 ratio. Similarly, if I just see on the basis of north side and south side, it has to be a multiple of 7. So this number has to be a multiple of 5 and 7. So if I just look at it, I'll now find the LCM of 5 and 7, which is coming out to be 35. So 35 is the smallest possible number of students in the class that can be divided in the ratio 2:3 and that can be divided in the ratio 4:3. If I compare it with quantity B, which is again 35, I get my answer that the two quantities which are given to me are equal in magnitude. Let's look at the next question. Party cranberry is 3 parts cranberry juice and 1 part soda. So there are 4 parts to it basically. 3 parts cranberry juice and there's 1 part soda. Fancy lemonade is 1 part lemon juice and 2 parts soda. 1 glass of party cranberry is mixed with an equally sized glass of fancy lemonade. That is what I have. So you have to find the fraction of resulting mix, that is cranberry juice, and the fraction of resulting mix, that is soda. You have to compare these two quantities. Now, what I can do is, if I just look back at the previous question, I was able to find out the smallest possible number of students in the class. Similarly, here, now if I try to figure it out, this was 3 parts and 1 part, and this is 1 part and 2 parts. So if I just try to look at it, this has to be a multiple of 4. If I assume there are no fractions, this has to be a multiple of 3. If I assume no fractions. So 4 and 3, what I assume is there are 12 parts. There are 12 parts in one glass. So a glass consists of 12 parts. So if I talk about cranberry and soda, now 3/4 of this 12 has to be cranberry. So that means 9 part is cranberry and 3 parts is soda from a party cranberry. Similarly, if I talk about fancy lemonade, 1/3 of fancy lemonade is lemon juice. So that means 4 parts are lemon juice and 2 parts, which is 8, are soda. So if I just mix them and if I just try to get the things, there'll be 9 parts which will be the cranberry thing out of a total of 24 parts, and soda 8 plus 3. So 11 parts out of a total of 24 parts is coming out to be soda. So if I just compare these two, I would understand that there will be more soda than cranberry fraction in the total mix that I get. This is a question which is based upon mixtures and allegations. In case you are not able to get this question, I would request you to go back to the concepts of mixtures and allegation which we have done while we were doing the topic of arithmetic. Go through them carefully and then you will be in a position to solve these questions. Let's look at question number 13. The average or the arithmetic mean of xyz and the average of arithmetic mean of 0.5x, 0.5y and 0.5z. So if I just try to get the formula, the arithmetic mean is sum of observations over number of observations. Here, the arithmetic mean is sum of observations over, again, number of observations. So if you look here, what I get is this part and this part is same. So if I just call this part as capital X, this part is 0.5 times capital X. Now if I have to compare these two, what should be your answer? Think about it for 10 seconds and then let me know. The answer should be option number D. The relationship cannot be determined from the information given. Reason being, very, very important. Do you know what is the sign of this x? If x, y, z are negative integers, your average would also be negative. If x, y, z are positive integers, your average would also be positive. So, if you compare it, I'm just taking a case, your x could be 2 also and your x could be minus 2 also. So in that case, if I multiply it with 0.5, that means I half it. It will be 1 and it will be minus 1. So if I just compare the average, here this average is greater than this, here this average is greater than this. So the relationship which is given to me in the question cannot be determined from the information given to me. Let's look at another question. This is a question which is based upon the topic of geometry. So, if I just go ahead and try solving this question, A triangle has a perimeter of 24. So I don't know what kind of triangle is it. It is a scalene triangle or an isosceles triangle or an equilateral triangle. The only thing that I know, it is 24. Now, if I have to find the area of the triangle, I need to know what type of a triangle. But what I know is, if it is a symmetrical figure, the area would be maximum. So for a given perimeter, the area would be maximum if it's a equilateral triangle. So if I just look at an equilateral triangle, the side of this equilateral triangle would come out to be 8. And if I just excuse me, yeah, if I just try to find out the area of an equilateral triangle is root 3 by 4 into side square. So this will be 8 into 8. If I just try to do this thing, it will be 16 root 3. So if I just try to multiply 16 with 1.732, which is the value of root 3, what I get is 27.71. So if I just compare this, the area of the triangle, I'm not sure about what triangle. I'm talking about equilateral triangle here. The area of equilateral triangle, which is coming out to be 27.71, which is definitely greater than 20. But I'm not really sure what type of triangle is it. It could have been a scalene triangle, or it could have been any other kind of triangle. So I could definitely find out the maximum area from this, but I cannot find out the minimum area of the triangle. So I don't know if if I take a triangle which is a scalene triangle and try to find out the area, that area will be definitely less than 27.71. So my answer would be, the relationship cannot be determined from the information given, because the only area that I can find out is the area of an equilateral triangle, and there is no mention of the word equilateral here. Okay, let's look at the last question for this lecture. The question says, if x is between 0 and 10, that means x has to be a positive thing. It is not given to me that it's an integer, but it is positive for sure, that I know. And y is between 0 and 1. Again, y is positive and y have to be a fractional value. If I multiply anything with a fractional, the value would come out to be lesser than the original value. So the quantities that I have to compare is x minus y and 9. Whenever I have a question of this type, I will try to make all the possible cases and get to my answer. So what I can do is, I can take the value of x as 9.9 and I can take the value of y as 0.1, or I can take the value of y as 0.8, whatever value. So if I just look at it, what is the value which is coming out to be? It is 9.8. 9.8 and 9. So that means 9.8 is greater than 9 that I have. This is the maximum value. Let's look at the minimum value that I can get. So I can take the value of x as 1 also, and the value of y as 0.1, giving me an answer 0.9. Now 0.9 is less than 9. Therefore I get two contradictory relationships with the information which has been given to me, thereby giving me option number D as the answer that I need to mark. The relationship cannot be determined from the information given, because I'm getting two contradictory answers based upon the different values of x and y. I hope you've understood the concept of quantitative comparison now. It's a very, very important topic that we have for such kind of exams. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please like us and subscribe us at our YouTube channel to get more videos like this. Follow us and like us on Twitter and Facebook to get more exam related updates. And visit us at our website, which is www.edusati.com, to practice more questions on this and other related topics. Thank you so much, and all the very best for your preparation.